Hello, good morning everyone. This is Vijayalakshmi Madam taking up CPC. Under this, today we are discussing as to the constituent components of decree. Decree is defined under section 2.2 of Civil Procedure Code 1908. Decree is the final verdict, final judgment that is delivered by the court. Even though it is a final verdict generally known to all the people, final judgment delivered by the court, but still there is a need to know the constituent elements of the decree, because every decision that is passed by the court may not be constituted as a decree. In order to constitute a particular decision passed by the court, it need to possess the ingredients given in the section 2.2. That means to constitute a particular decision, particular order passed by the court, whether it is appealable or not, whether it is constituting the element of decree or not, there is a need to focus on section 2.2, because section 2.2 has specifically defined the terms of the decree, constitute the elements of the decree, components constituting the decree. In criminal court also we will be seeing the judgments passed by the court. But still we don't use the word decree under criminal law. We use only judgment. But once you are coming to the civil law, civil litigations, we use the word decree only. D-E-C-R-E-E, decree. Why we are focusing more in this particular aspect, and why today I am focusing more on this aspect is because the students, they be getting the questions in their external papers, especially as to the elements of the decree, definition of the decrees, deemed decrees, and the difference between decree and order, decree and judgments. These are all the frequently asked questions in the examinations. Not only that, the law students, they are required to know what is the correct concrete definition and what is the correct opinion as per the statute to the word decree is very much required. We know that the court, it is going to pass so many decisions, so many orders during its proceedings in favor of the parties. But in every proceeding, whatever the decision that is passed by the court need not be a decree. It may be simply an order. That order, we can't call that order, whatever the decision passed by the court, is a decree. It is remaining only as an order, but not a decree. But to constitute the word decree, whatever the decision passed by the court, what the elements it should possess is a question. For that, we need to focus on section 2.2, which is giving the essential elements as decree should have been passed in a suit. Here they are using the word suit. Suit is very, very important. That means in order to say that a particular decision passed by the court, whether primarily, preliminarily, first, whether it is a suit, whether it is a decree or not, we need to focus on the point whether that particular decision is passed in a suit proceedings or not is the point. Now, the students or the people, first they have to see the proceedings undertaken by the court, whether it is constituting the element of the suit or not. Suit is not defined anywhere. We have to draw the inference from so many judgments, precedents. Suit means it is the suit is beginning with the presentation of the plaint and ending with a decree. Fundamentally, blindly, we have to just keep it in mind that suit commences with the plaint and ends with the decree, or suit begins with the dropping of the plaint before the court and it is getting ended with the passing of the decree. That is only known as suit. That means every application, every proceeding, whatever we are moving, may not be a suit proceedings. It may be some other proceedings, filing the applications before the court, and they may be getting some orders from the court. Whatever the proceedings they have been undertaken, they may not be known as in all the circumstances that all the proceedings are suit proceedings. We have to see whether it is a suit or not. First, we have to focus our eyes whether there is any presentation of the plaint by the plaintiff or not, and you have to see whether the particular person or the plaintiff, whether did he receive any final decree to his hand or not is very, very important. That means dropping of the plaint is important, and the proceeding should have been ended with the final judgment, that is the word decree. If then only you call such proceedings as suit proceedings. If there is no suit proceedings, and if it is other than the suit, if any other proceedings are taking place, then even though the order is passed by the court, but still that order remains only as an order but not a decree. So it is first fundamental one. And the next one, it should have been passed by the competent court is important. The court which is passing the judgment, first of all, it should have the competency to decide the matter. Here the competency, again, the question is how to know that a particular court whether does it have the competence to decide the case or not. The competence is depending upon the jurisdictional points. Jurisdiction means every court it is going to have three types of the jurisdictions: pecuniary jurisdiction, territorial jurisdiction, and jurisdiction over the subject matter. Like that it will be there. In our subsequent classes we are going to focus on the jurisdiction of the court. Now here I am going to say that the court first of all must be competent to decide any matter, whatever that is coming up before its table. If it is not having the competency to decide the court, where the court has decided any matter without the competent authority, without any having legal authority, that particular decree, especially where it is lacking some competence as to the subject matter, that particular decree is going to fall to the ground. We can attack it. We can just file the cases against that particular decree passed by the court as an invalid one because it is not having the competency to decide it. That means where the decree without competency, especially as to the subject matter, can be declared as null and void. You can simply nullify the elements of the decree there, and the party, they can just file a fresh suit in respect of that particular litigation. It applies only where the court is incompetent as to the subject matter but not the territorial and pecuniary applications. So competency means in that aspect. That means in order to constitute that a particular decision passed by the court, we have to check whether it is passed in the suit or not, and whether it is passed by the competent court or not. And the next one is there must be final adjudication of the matter. Final adjudication of the matter means finally it should have decided all the rights, all the controversies, whatever they are an issue between the parties, it is plaintiff and defendant, must be decided by the court. It is not going to leave it. Whatever the issues they are framed, as to those issues, the court should have given some decision. That decision, it is a final one. There is no any pendency, and the court has not ignored any point. It has finally given its adjudication as to that particular matter, whatever that has come for litigation. If there is no final conclusion, final adjudication, then whatever the order that is passed by the court may not be a decree. You know that generally intermediate proceedings be taking place once we have moved to the court by filing one suit. Under those circumstances, we may be moving to the court for some interim reliefs because of some urgency in the matter. So the court be passing certain orders. Under those circumstances, they are not orders, but they are just remaining as decrees only for the sake of for the interest of the parties, for the benefit of the parties, where the court it is ordering some immediate relief. That is only intermediary relief that is given in the form of order. Though it is during the proceedings of the court, and then though it is given by the competent court, but still it is not a decree because it is given in the mid of the proceedings, but not a final adjudication. That is called final adjudication. But in order to constitute the judgment as a decree, there must be final adjudication is required. And the next one is it should have been formal expression by the court. Formal expression is an official expression. It is not informal. Finally, in an expressive manner, finally, formally, the court it should have laid down the contents of the decree in the form of the judgment first, and later it has been converted into the decree. That particular format should have been there. Then only you say that it is a decree is passed in a particular court. Next one important one is the decrees may be here. The section 2.2 itself is saying that the kinds of decrees may be there. They may be partly preliminary, partly final, and final as well as preliminary. The preliminary decrees may be also be passed as to the necessities of the case and as to the necessities of the party. Sometimes it may be as to the dependency of the facts, whatever they are placing in the case. Depending on that, there may be a requirement for the court to pass an immediate preliminary decree conclusively determining the rights of the parties. Whenever the preliminary decree is passed, this particular preliminary decree, which is finally adjudicating the rights of the parties, may be contested. Here, while we are discussing as to the differences between preliminary and final decree, I am going to give a brief sketch as to that. Preliminary decree is such decree which may be contested, because already the court has, here we are using the word decree only because it is finally adjudicating as to the rights of the parties or other important elements which are affecting the interest of the parties when it is decided in the preliminary issues itself. Then you say that preliminary decree is passed by the court. But we know that for any decree or for any judgment or order, one party may be always a sufferer, because the decree or the judgment, it is always favoring one party and it is going against the interest of the other party. Always like that it be there. The party who is injured and who is feeling that he is aggrieved by the preliminary decision or preliminary decree, there is a chance that he can move to the appellate court in the mid of the proceedings itself by staying the proceedings for the time being, and he is filing the appeal against the preliminary decree, because preliminary decree, whatever that is decided, it is showing its influence upon the final decree. That means final decree is very much dependent upon the preliminary decree. If you are finding any fault, or if you are finding any flaws, or if you are feeling any aggrieved by the contents of the preliminary decree, the party against whom it is passed, he is given a chance that he can invoke the appellate jurisdiction, he can move to the appellate court, and he can just get the relief by staying the proceedings before the lower court. It may be a final decree, it may be preliminary one, it may be partly preliminary and partly final, depending upon the facts and circumstances of the case. And the next one, what they are saying that here they have used the section itself has concentrated on deemed decrees. Sometimes the court might have passed a decision, but still we may feel that it is not finally adjudicating, or final adjudication may not be there. But if you closely peep into that point, you'll be observing compulsorily that there is some final adjudication. Here what they are saying, deemed decree is there. That means we are deeming a particular judgment as a decree only. It is very much, deemed decrees are very much equivalent to the word of the decree. What type of decrees they are deemed decree means? Rejection of the plaint, section 47 and section 144. Rejection of the plaint is coming into picture whenever, if you are dropping any plaint before the law court, plaint is nothing but the averments made by the parties against the defendant. Allegations passed, allegations made in a written mode, in a written document. In civil applications, you call that civil suits only, you call that. In a suit only, plaint will be there. Just now I have given it. Suit, decree, plaint, these are all interrelated, connecting. If there is suit, our understanding is, our presumption is that the plaint should have been dropped. Already presumed that the plaintiff has dropped it. If you are saying that suit proceedings are going on, means our presumption is already the plaintiff already dropped his plaint. And if the suit proceedings are going on, means it is going to end with a decree. These are the very, very important one. Sometimes where there are some technical errors, technical lapse may be there in drafting this plaint. There is a specific mode and format that is given as per order 7 of CPC. It is talking about the plaint requirements and format of plaint, how it has to be. If As per the requirement of the CPC, as per the order 7, if you do not have the proper contents, proper elements in your drafting of the plaint, then the court is having every right to reject your plaint. Whenever such a decision is passed by the court as to rejection of the plaint, that order, the final decision of the court rejecting your plaint is constituting the word decree, and it is appealable. It is appealable because here I have given every decree is appealable but not every order. Whatever the orders passed by the court, every order passed by the court is not appealable, but every decree passed by the court is very much appealable. Even this rejection of the plaint is also deemed to be a decree. It is also an entitlement for the appeal. So rejection of the plaint, rejecting or plaint for technical defaults, then the party who is aggrieved by such a decision, he is having every right to move to the appellate court, and he can get it set right by the appellate court. Rejection of the plaint is a deemed decree and it is appealable. Next one is section 47 and section 144. They are speaking as to the execution proceedings, questions as to the execution while conducting the execution proceedings, section 47, and section 144 is dealing with the restitution. These two elements, section 47, it comes across while after the decree is passed, when it is ready for execution, everything is completed, and where the final appellate court has also passed the decision. After the final appellate court has passed the decision, where the decree has become final in all its areas, then it is ready for execution. Immediately after passing the decree, however, if the lower court is passing the decree, if there is 3 months time for moving to the appeal, that is 90 days is there to go to the High Court. If that particular High Court already delivered the judgment in that particular court also, decree is also passed by the appellate court relating to that particular case, then it has become final in all aspects. Then it is becoming ready for execution. Execution is nothing but the decree holder is going to realize the fruits of the decree. But even in those execution proceedings where the decree holder has dropped that execution petition, so many questions again will be coming across. Again, contesting parties may be there. Again, the other party, the opponent, may be taking some objection as to the execution proceedings. Relating to such execution, if any questions, determination of any questions are arising, the executing court is competent to decide the matter, and whatever the decision is passed, it is also deemed decree only. Here, next one is section 144, that is restitution. Restitution aspects, we people know that the word restitution means restoring the benefit. Sometimes where the decree is passed, where it has become final by the lower court, and where some erroneous judgment might have been passed, and in the meantime where the appeal is pending, sometimes it may happen that the decree holder has just gone for the execution proceedings, and he might have obtained some benefit under that particular decree, awaiting the results of the appeal. Under those circumstances, before the disposal of the appeal itself, the decree holder in the lower court has realized the fruits of the decree. Under such circumstances, where the appellate court has reversed the proceedings and passed the decision in favor of the judgment debtor in the lower court, then whatever the benefit already derived by the decree holder in the lower court, he has to restore the benefit to the judgment debtor who has won the case in the appeal. That is called restitution. And if any decisions are passed like that, they are also just deemed to be the decrees. But it does not include the decrees from which an appeal lies as an appealable order or dismissal for default. Dismissal for default, it is known generally where there is, according to order 9 of CPC, there is one provision as to the appearance of the parties. If the parties have not appeared as per the requirement or as per the notice served by the court, sometimes the court, it may be dismissing the suit. Dismissal of suit is there. Generally, it is taking place where the parties who could not appear before the law court as per the scheduled time. Sometimes it may happen. It will not happen in all the cases, but it may happen depending upon the nature of the case. Under those circumstances, wherever the order is passed by the court for dismissal for default, that order does not include the element of the decree. That means you don't call that it is a decree. With this,